Hey there, how you doing? My name's Andy Whitehead. I'm from Recruitment Marketing International. Hello there and welcome to Accelerator Week 1. So in this module we are going to be discussing one of the key areas, laying the foundations. So this is what we're going to cover. Number 1, general housekeeping. Number 2, Facebook group rules. Number 3, how to get help and support. Number 4, the fundamentals to success. Number 5, taking full responsibility. And number 6, when things don't go right straight away, what do you do? So first off, general housekeeping. So the first thing is this: we've got various programs and you're in Accelerator right now. So this is designed to be completed over 10 weeks. Now, the reality is, for example, if you ran a set of LinkedIn campaigns, and we may have a member, for example, Peter and Hazel, and they ran a set of LinkedIn campaigns across week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, up to week 9. At week 9, they were happy with the conversion metrics, which actually got up to 100% response rate, i.e. if you contact 100 candidates, 100 responded. So in that period, we're going through tweaking the campaigns, and then we've got something we can literally run evergreen over and over again. So although we say 10 weeks, it's laid out in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. The reality is you'll be picking different elements from each week relevant to what you need right now. Number 2, you've got 12 months to access this training material, so there's no rush here. There's no rush at all. Number 3, each week you should watch the videos in order. So if we've got, for example, 7 components to that particular week, I recommend going through in order. Now, depending on what level you're at, there may be the occasion whereby you can fast forward to different components in that week. However, know that there's a strategy to what we're working through here. And always remember this: we're building a business here. We're building a business. So just like I mentioned just now with Peter will take, in that instance, he took one LinkedIn strategy, one set of LinkedIn templates, and then we ran it for 2-3 days. We got a response, we got a metric, we got feedback. We made a few tweaks, ran it again for a couple of days. We got metric, we got feedback, to the point whereby we worked out if we send X amount per day, per week, per month, it equates to X amount in his inbox from qualified candidates in that example. So then it becomes predictable. And that's what we want to get to. We want to get into this predictability. So again, although it's over 10 weeks, the reality is that's a 10-week period of you really taking the time to go through and understand what we're actually doing here. Implementation is actually running your business, which is obviously ongoing. Next, Facebook group rules. So number 1, no promotions. Number 2, no complaining, no negativity of any kind. One of the things that I've seen over the years personally, and also seeing from members, is mindset is king. And it's one of those things that we often don't want to talk about in recruitment, because very much we're focused on the metric, the result, i.e. what we're getting paid. However, the mindset will drive the action will get the effect will then get the metric, that decides what we do next. So keep in mind, we don't do negativity. Next, help others before asking for help yourself. We've over the years created many satellite groups, which makes me so happy. So there are groups who are meeting online, offline, who've got together from this program and these programs. We've had members who've joint ventured, created business together. We've had members gone to create software together, etc. So really do pay it forward. You're going to get dividends back hugely. Next, if you break these rules, you're going to be banned. Now that doesn't happen, but I just want to be really clear on this. Many moons ago, we had a gentleman who was invited in hindsight, maybe he shouldn't have been. It was one of the few errors we may have made. And this gentleman wouldn't follow the process. He was then creating a set of actions or discussions inside the group. Then other members would then follow those discussions. Before you know it, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 businesses gone off point. So we're going to keep on top of that, but just know this, it's very rare. Next, zero tolerance policy to essentially not being cool. But I know it's not going to apply to you, but just want to make that really clear. And finally, report any suspicious behaviour to our support team. So over the years, I've had only the odd occasion where someone's come inside the group and they've essentially stolen my stuff and then tried to repurpose it. I remember a conversation with one gentleman. He said, "Andy, it's just information." It's like, well, no, I've been doing digital since 1996. I've been in recruitment for a decade. I've sweated blood and tears. I've cried. My wife's seen the downsides as well as the upsides, so it's not just information. So if there's anything suspicious, please do let us know. Next, how to get help and support. So watch the training videos in full and do the work. So most questions you will have will actually be in the training. They'll be in the training themselves, or they'll be inside the Facebook group. So the training videos you go through is the actual strategy. It will be, for example, the template, it will be the workflow, it'll be the implementation steps. And then inside in the Facebook group, there'll be questions and there'll be units around application of the strategy. So watch the training video in full. Next, if you fall into the trap of this video is too long, that's the mindset that has got you to where you are now. Because one of the things that I admire about recruitment research is we want things done yesterday. As entrepreneurs, it's a very, very tough niche. We don't just provide one offering, one product. We actually need to provide two, a client and a candidate at the same time. So it's a very tough industry with that regard compared to other industries where it's one service or one product. So if you fall in the trap of this video is too long, you're repeating the behavior that's got you to where you are now, where things need to change. So once a strategy is set up, that can run for potentially months, even years, over and over again. And I mentioned on just now with Peter. So that strategy, tweak it, test it. Peter's working 1.5 hours a day. His partner's working 8 hours a day, but they 5x their business in the first 6 months by taking that approach. So the videos, please do understand that it's not just about laying out the steps for you, it's that you understand what we're actually looking to achieve here. We're about building a business here, not just running some automation as an example. Next, if you have a question, it's probably been answered many times before inside the group. So use the Facebook search function, look for your question. It's probably been answered before. If you haven't had it answered before, then please do post it. Please do post it. But do use the Facebook search. But if not, then please do post it. If you still don't get the response you need, then please, by all means, do send us an email to support@recruitmentmarketinginternational.com with the question. Also, you can tag me inside the Facebook group, tag Ignition Crew inside the Facebook group. We'll be sure to jump on and help you too. Finally, attend the Q&A calls. So attend one of the Q&A calls that are taking place on a weekly basis. So one of the things that I've seen over the years is the businesses that have joined us doing, say, if I give you an extreme, this isn't the norm, but someone like Laura, who doubled in the first year, doubled again, went on to do 7 figures in just a few years, working 20 hours per week. What Laura would do, she'd take one strategy, sometimes 2, and she'd absolutely nail it. And then what she'd do is she makes sure that each week she got feedback on that strategy. So on a Wednesday, you submit your metrics, you submit, as things stand now, you submit your metrics, questions, etc. And then on a Thursday, on the Q&A webinar, they'll be answered for you. So if you imagine you did that for 50 weeks a year, you've got power. Next, fundamentals. Fundamentals to success. Excuse me. Number 1, this is extremely important. And I've said this now for a decade. You're a business owner. You are a business owner. Now, in recruitment, in search, often we've been working for the man and we've set up our own business. So we are a recruiter and we've been taught recruiting. The reality is you're now a business owner, and it just happens to be that recruitment, search, is your mechanism to get paid. But ultimately you're a business owner. Now the business is there to make money. So really understand this. You're no longer a job owner. You may be in transition, but you're a business owner. And bit by bit, this will start to proliferate throughout your business. So really, really understand that. It's a key insight. Key insight. One of the things we've often seen over the years is about letting go of certain tasks, or indeed, for example, implementing automation. And there's these new things, and it's a change of role for you. And your role changes dramatically between 0 to 250, 250 to 1 million, then 1 million to 3 million. Your role changes dramatically across those 3 different levels. Now, the process you're about to go through, these strategies, they work. They work. Every strategy is proven. So virtually every single week, I'm creating a new strategy, which I absolutely love. And when I'm testing, for example, a new tool, or I'm testing a new candidate strategy, I'll test with a handful of our members, and we're testing the background. So by the time it gets to you guys, depending on which level you're in, by the time it gets to you guys, it's proven. It's proven. But what you must do is implement and actually do it. So you need to do the work, and do the work means just do it. Just do it. So always remember, as my father says, you point one finger, 4 point back. So one of the lines you don't want to say is this doesn't work and you've not done it. Or I'm not getting the leads I want or the candidates I want, and then we look at your actual metrics and you've barely started. The process works, but you need to do the work. Next, there are no magic pills to growing a business. Now, when I share with you automation, double R, or if I share with you, say the podcast strategy where you get number on iTunes probably, and all these cool things around it, there actually is real coolness there. You know, the fact that some of these strategies work to the degree they do blows me away. But the reality is, you're growing a business here, and I could have over the years been really pushing, press the big red button like we do with double R. You've got this automation, the follow-up's automated, the qualification is automated to a degree. It's pretty cool stuff we've got going on here. But I'm always careful about simplifying or selling a big red button, because at the end of the day, your business comes down to 3 fundamental steps that I'll cover shortly. So with the no magic pills, there are really cool strategies that are going to take the role of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people, which are going to get you the leads, are going to get you converting, going to get you the candidates, going to get you the authority, going to get you the growth, etc. But remember, follow through is key, and that's the main trait you need. So your business requires you to put the work in, plain, but that's how it needs to be. So always remember this: if you don't win the long game in business, you don't win the game. Now, often again, one of the traits I love about recruitment search people is, like me, we want everything yesterday. We want the quickest route from A to B. I think I'm fundamentally the most disciplined, lazy person I know. So I want the quickest route from A to B, but I want to make sure it's sustainable. So remember, if you don't win the long game, you don't win the game. And if I look at businesses who have, for example, gone from, say, in year one, from 300 to 1 million, or they've gone from 250 to 2 million, what do they all have in common? There's a few traits they have in common as a business owner. One is they're very humble. And what I mean by that is they'll always listen to other people. But number 2 is they will always focus on, right, this next strategy, let's get this on point to a degree, and understand that this is part of a bigger picture here. I'm going to be in business for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years time. I might then look to sell, or as some members have done, they've taken their business and actually turned it into a franchise because they've now got systems behind it. But win the long game as well as the short game. Next, you're going to feel frustrated at times. If you don't feel frustrated, then you're not pushing the needle hard enough. So you should feel frustrated at some points. You should be using some expletives, etc. If you're not pushing the needle hard enough. Next, do the work. If you don't do the work, I assure you, you won't get to where you want to. So if it's like the park in the UK, the park where my children go to, there's a ride, like a cylinder ride, and you push it, and that first revolution is really, really tough. And the second they're running around trying to get it going, it starts to move. By the third, they jump on it, and it's going around by itself. Same principle here. Next, don't let your future self down. Next year is going to come, whether you like it or not. It's going to come. And what you're about to go through, there could be someone in a similar position to you, and they're going to apply it and smash it. So don't let your future self down. Next year is going to come. Next, metrics. Metrics drive pretty much everything, every decision you're going to make in your business. So if you imagine you ran a campaign, so a campaign is, Andy, I need clients now, or Andy, I need candidates now. So that's what a campaign is. And yes, we use automation for it, and et cetera, et cetera. So if you ran a campaign and then end of week 1, end of week 2, end of week 3, you check 5 core fundamental metrics, can you imagine what you got at the end of 10 weeks? You've got something that's gone from 5% conversion to probably 50%, 60%, or in Peter's case, 100%. By the way, that's not the norm. If that's a one-off, get 100% response rate. So you must become a master of metrics, but only a handful of metrics. Next, don't make this into a bigger thing than it is. It's about getting one tactic working and then repeating it over and over again. And that's where the scale comes from. So don't think we're going from recruitment world of picking up the phone and whatever you may have done, networking, whatever it might be, into we're going to this automation world. And no, we're going to go through 3 steps. So you've got your legacy world, you've got your transition, and you've got the new world as such. But just get the first thing working, repeat it, tweak it. So this will work if you do. I'm sure you're going to. Now, next, taking full responsibility. So this is a big aha moment for me. Big aha moment in so many ways, whether it be fitness, whether it be whatever it might be. So 2008, I left the corporate world, or about that time, bought a load of property, thought I was the bee's knees. I bought various books, etc., on the property market, created my own spreadsheets, and where I bought property, they doubled in value every 7 years since 1946, so it was a no-brainer. So I invested here, also had property in the Caribbean. I lost it all because of the 2008 crash and the knock-on effects, etc. So what we need to always do is, if we spend time blaming the crash or blaming the COVID, etc., we lose our power. So wherever you are right now, whether it be financially, whether it be mentally, where you are right now is the outcome of every decision that you've made. And it could be informed decisions, it could be ill-informed decisions, but they'll be all decisions. Now, if we take that ownership, it might sting a little bit, but now we've got complete power and control over that. Rather than blaming something else or blaming this esoteric thing, the economy, etc., we've got power. What could I have done differently? What might I repeat? But we've got that power, so start doing that. Next, where you are right now is the outcome of your conscious and your subconscious decisions. Now, I'm very aware of the power of the mind, extremely aware of the power of the mind. And we've got the imprint years with children, 0 to 4 and 4 to 7, etc. And 90% of their behaviours are created at that point. As an adult, though, I'm also aware about the power of the subconscious. And going back many years, there's an application called Subliminal Messages. And what it would do is it would print on the screen up to, I think, 10,000 times a second or something like that, an affirmation. But it was so quick, your conscious mind couldn't see it, but it programmed your subconscious mind. And some crazy things happened in my life over the years, and I've passed on some of the good outcomes I've had to other people inside the programs and personally, and seen crazy things. So be aware of your subconscious. So what you're putting in it every day is eventually going to come out. What you put in is going to come out. Whether it be motivational stuff on YouTube, but what you put in, eventually whatever goes in is going to come out. So be intentional about this business now. So this next year, this next 2 years, this next 90 days, this next 30 days, be intentional about what's happening here. Be intentional. Right, I'm in control. So when we do this, you're totally responsible for where you are in your life and about what you're about to do. And it's almost like letting a pin inside a balloon and right, okay, remove all the jargon, all the blaming, it's on me. So just like where you're responsible for where you are right now, you're going to be responsible for the results in your program. So if you follow the steps, you're going to get a metric. If you get a metric, that metric can be improved. That's the simplicity. So I've worked with over 1,000 recruitment search companies directly, and one of the things that I've seen over and over again is these recruitment and search directors and business owners, those who understand they're going from their starting point now to their outcome, they know there's a gap in the middle, yeah? There's a gap in the middle. So that how is why you're here. Now the do is on you, or it could be a VA or commissioner recruiter. So I've got absolute clarity and proof on those that achieve these big jumps. They take responsibility for their results. We've got a member who has done extraordinary, and that member has 15x'd in a year, and that's in COVID. Now that member, I had a direct conversation with this member probably about 2 years ago, and it was a very man-to-man conversation. And do you know what? On the back, well, that might have been the catalyst. He did all the action, but the outcome was huge. Up to that point, there'd been a blame game going on. And at that point, I was like, right, listen, the strategy you're doing, there's 25 members doing the same strategy, of which 19 have got these numbers, etc., etc. 3 have got these. This is on you. And that conversation went backwards and forwards, and it was a tough conversation. However, he took ownership and has done absolutely extraordinary. Depending on what level you're in, inside Scale, you can find the interview with that gentleman under Model Success. Next, those who've had this success, they never blame anyone or play the victim. They never blame anyone or play the victim. They know that when you do that, you lose control, you lose your power. So be aware of that. Be aware of that. Now, things won't always go right straight away. Now, that's just a fact of life. So if we bring it down to what we're going through here, one recruiter can run a campaign, i.e. they might use a LinkedIn campaign, or it could be a podcast campaign, or it could be one of the webinar campaigns, it could be double R. They can run a campaign, and every time they run it, they bring 100K. Now, another one may do exactly the same thing and not get that result straight away, and they complain. So usually what the problem is, the second recruiter did not do the steps before. So they've taken a shortcut. So these shortcuts do not win the long game. Now think about this. If you're going to set up a campaign, so that could be a opening template, an opening email, and then we've got 5 follow-up messages, and between 40 and 60% of your leads will come in between messages 3 to 5, 3 to 7, depending on what niche. So the follow-up is done automatically and is king. But if this message go out to say 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, fill in the blank. Taking an extra bit of time to tweak that template, it's worth it, isn't it? So with an example, going back many years, I remember a gentleman who'd gone into a new niche. And we all know that niche now, which is blockchain. At the time, it was a up and coming area. And this gentleman had run these campaigns and got extraordinary results, as in stacks of A's. So i.e. the leads were coming back and saying, we are hiring. We sent across a client attainment system which essentially overcomes all the objections they will have about using you. And the next step was the conversion call. And then when I looked at what happened is this gentleman had created a new website, LinkedIn profile, as we laid out in the templates. He'd created the CAS, but essentially copied someone else's CAS, client attainment system, which in its first guise is about a 12-page PDF, and in the other bits around it. But what he hadn't actually done is done the work. So when he created this CAS, he adapted somebody else's CAS. He hadn't actually gone through the steps that I'd laid out in two sessions, 2-hour sessions. So when he got onto the conversion call, the calls weren't converting. Despite using our strategy to convert, they still weren't converting because he hadn't done the groundwork and the analysis on the market. So that shortcut actually cost him. So the shortcut doesn't win. The shortcut doesn't win. We may get to the next step quicker, but remember, we've got 3 components to your business: leads, conversion, delivery. And you might have 1,000 A's, i.e. let's speak, but if you're not converting them or delivering the candidate, then it's useless. So the shortcut doesn't win. Now, most people generally believe obstacles is a bad thing, and they stop. And some retract and go back to what they did before. So remember, you're here for a reason. What you've been doing has not worked. So if you're going through a process and you've not got the immediate result, right, we tweak it, we go again. We're here to help as well. So when people revert back to, I've tried this one thing and it didn't work, and we go back to doing what we've done before, and we take one step forward and then we go back to what we were doing before, that is insanity or weakness or both. So the old way, they know no longer works, but because they didn't ride without the stabilizers straight away, they go back to stabilizers, what they think is safe. But what they think is safe is actually killing their business. So what happens is they never actually ride and win that race. So you don't be surrounded by stabilizers. You want to take that jump forward, and if you get a metric, it can be improved, whether it be a client metric, a candidate metric, a conversion metric, a delivery metric, or be a metric around one of the strategies. So just know that. Don't revert back to what didn't work before. Next, the best thing to happen is to not get the campaign working immediately. Now that sounds strange. So I need clients now, I need candidates now. The best thing to happen is to not get the campaign working immediately. Why is that? So you learn about tweaking. So if I look at businesses who have 3x, 4x, 5x, 6x, 7x in a year, it's because the one strategy or normally a maximum of 3 strategies they're using in that period, they're getting feedback, either it's not converting to the extent they want, so you need to think about what's not working here. And with that thought, it becomes a better campaign, which means it starts to convert more and more. Because when it starts converting, then we send it out en masse. We might tweak it for subsections of the market. So you might have 12 verticals. You might need to tweak that into 12 templates. But you're now working smart. You're not working hard. Like we still going to work hard to start with, but we're working smart. Now, if you're growing a business, which you want as a cash machine, or you're looking to sell it, you need to be real. Being an entrepreneur is tough, but it's actually the best system in the world because it's almost a direct mapping behind how hard you work, how smart you are, and what your score is inside your bank. So be real about what you're doing, the effort you're putting in, the strategies you're using. So the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. The longer the payoff, the bigger the payoff. So COVID-19, it raised the bar for many members. After COVID-19, most businesses have become stronger, a bigger machine. So we've got through COVID. We've now, in lots of cases, leveraged COVID, had our best quarters, best years ever. And it's now becoming a much better business that we have. So we've reached this new level. We've been forced into it in some cases. But know this, being an entrepreneur is tough. And tomorrow, something will come into your world. It could be a personal thing. It could be a work thing. But you're going to be put off kilter. And that is part of being an entrepreneur. So you might need to pause for a day. You might need to take a deep breath. But just know the stuff's going to come into your world, into your domain. It's how you deal with it is the key factor. So a quick summary of what we covered. General housekeeping, Facebook group rules, how to get help and support, fundamentals to success, taking full responsibility when things do not go right immediately. So the mantra, what you think about is this. Every business I've seen hit 7 figures does 2 things, foundations and 30-day plans. So 30-day plans is literally as it sounds. Day 1 of the month, we've got a new plan. Day 31, everything stops. Not, it might come in next week. No, what's the exact metrics for this month? So don't let you feed yourself down. Do the foundational work as though your business depended on it. And it does. So, one of the best books I've ever read is by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Now, if you've not read that book, I strongly recommend you do. I read it many years ago and I still revert back to it. I've got many posters around the house with quotes from it. And I've got crazy stories I can share with you about things I've witnessed firsthand. Set your mind on a definite goal and observe how quickly the world stands aside to let you pass. So what's your definite goal? It might be to do 750k by the 11th of November. It might be, but what is the exact goal you're looking to? Then how many placements is it? Start to reverse engineer it. Now we're going to do this in detail at a low level later on, but start to get a grip on what is the actual goal that you're looking to achieve. Get this on paper, get it clear. The actual dynamics and the tactics behind it, we're going to start to create, but get clear about what you're actually looking to achieve here. So with that said, I'll see you on the next module.